Top of the top. Hopefully everybody is doing well and prospering. Robert Lewis here. For those of you that don't know, I want to talk to you guys today about what things you need to do when you have successfully negotiated a contract to take the house off of the market. Your offer has been accepted. The seller is saying, hey, we agreed to the terms initially to sell you this home. And so the purpose of this video is to help make the loan process simple, simplify it. So if you follow these three things that we're going to go over on this video, you will accomplish that in my professional opinion. So the first thing that you want to do, as you can see here on the screen, is you want to submit your earnest money. And depending on where you are in these United States, you might be dealing with a title company, an escrow officer, or an attorney. Same concept. Earnest money from a 10,000 foot view is your proof to the seller that you're serious. It's that handshake, if you will, that, hey, I'm serious about buying your home. And so I'm going to put this money up with a third party while I do my due diligence. The point I want to make with the earnest money transaction from a lending perspective is documentation and how that money is delivered. This is what's going to simplify the process. Now, in the past, typically what people will do is get a cashier's check. They might even take a personal check, depending on where you are in the country and how they do things. But as we move forward into the future, you really have to get more comfortable with wiring the electronic transfer of these funds. And when doing so, regardless of the loan type, it will help limit the documentation you have to supply because you took the money from this account in a personal check. The check hasn't cleared yet. We have to wait until the check clears your bank. We have to get a daily transaction history from whatever day that cleared through the most recent 60 days. It requires additional documentation that I find that most of my clients do not want to deal with, if not necessary. So that is what I want to say about really your earnest money and your option money, is how you deliver those money so that you can limit the amount of documentation that you might have. Okay. So, I gave you an idea what earnest money is. What the option money is, that's the money that the seller will receive as a payment for the time that you have gone through your due diligence. It's something that you and your realtor have negotiated. Typically, it's $10 a day, 10 days across the country. It might be more, it might be less. It's dependent upon your negotiations. But within that time frame, the seller's taking their house off of the market, right? And potentially losing out on a potential buyer. So once you have your option period in place, and you do that home inspection, here's the deal. If you can, pay that inspector with wired funds out of, this is the part that I didn't say earlier, out of the account that you're going to use for the rest of the monies that you need to consummate the deal. Okay? Hear what I'm saying to you. You want to keep it as simple as possible. So what I find is clients have a lot of frustration when they're pulling money from 1,000 different places. And really, that's because of the lack of proper application up front or the lack of communication between the lender, the loan officer, and you all. These are things that you can do up front. So before you reach out and decide to work with a lender, these are things that you know as a home buyer, hey, I need to choose one account that I'm going to use to consummate this deal. And this first step is just my earnest and option money and my home inspection money. Okay. And I want to, if all possible, pay for those things electronically because it provides a clean audit trail, shows where the money's coming from, okay? And we don't have to wait and then as a result get additional documentation down the line. Okay, so I want to simplify this process for you, and this is something that is constantly recurring. So make sure you're having a conversation to deal with any fears or trepidation you might have with that bank account. The next thing I want to tell you to do is when it comes to what you should do after you contract, right, is to make sure if you're going to wire those funds that you get the instructions directly from the title company or the attorney. Okay, from the title company or the attorney, because there are scammers out here, as we well know, we're all adults. There's scammings going on a daily basis on a lot of different fronts. But the way to protect yourself from that is communication, and you want to go straight to the source. Get it from the horse's mouth. And then once you do that, you want to validate and verify routing numbers and account numbers. Okay. And you should be fine. To really protect yourself, whatever financial institution you're using, you can go to that financial institution once you get the proper information from the source that you're going to be wiring the funds to, and have them wire it for you. So you don't have to do it, on a phone or something of that nature. Very safe if we go through the proper process. And again, the whole reason I'm saying this to you is so that you're not frustrated with a lot of additional documentation. So where you're withdrawing the funds from, and then the documentation source, the paper trail to show that those funds were readily available and approved to be used for your loan. Okay. Now, if you're doing it the traditional way, then you have to make sure you have good documentation and expect and be ready to provide some additional information for your lender. Okay. And so that's really it. Last thing I want to say is this is a framework that I've put together for my clients, because a lot of times once you've gotten a yes on a contract, it's an exciting time, but that's just the beginning of the process. Especially, well, not even if you're paying cash. It's just the beginning of the process. Because if that inspection brings something up that would cause you to back away from the deal, then you're back to square one. Okay. You don't get that option money back. You get your earnest money back. And so just keep that in mind. Hey, how you doing, Miss Durham Skyrider? Thank you for, I thought I saw a thumbs if that was you. Thank you for the support. But it's a process, guys. It's a journey. Okay. So let's have a little celebration once you get a home on the contract. But your next most important milestone is getting past that home inspection, and then either letting your lender, the one that you know, like, and trust, know that you're going to move forward. If it's prior to the option period, say, hey, I'm pressing forward. There's no deal killers here. I'm going to buy this house. Or when that option period ends, then the lender knows, hey, we're going to go forward and move forward on that property. So there you have it, guys. I'm going to come back with what I call my step 2. Once you know that you're going to move forward, the next most important thing is getting a homeowner's insurance policy. And that's big nowadays because insurance is up across the country, some places more than others. But this should not be the first time you're doing this. I will say that. That really should have been something that you worked out with your lender in the pre-approval stage, because of what I aforementioned. The cost of insurance is very high, and it could be deal killers for some folks. So let that not be the first time you're doing this. But the next step after earnest money, option money, home inspection, checking off on the home inspection, saying that I'm good. Then the next logical step is your lender needs that homeowner's insurance premium, because then you start the process of processing your loan to get you to the finish line. And in our environment, in our company, that's 17 to 30 days because we've done all the stuff up front. Just like helping you keep your documentation as minimum as possible by wiring the funds. Got a question here. Let's put it up on the screen. Ms. Durham Skyrider says, a friend of mine made an offer on a home. Well, congratulations to your friend, but was told they found termites. Then somebody else ended up buying it. He thinks, let me put that back up there. Yeah, it could have been. It could have been, Miss Pat. You know, there's a lot of shenanigans going on out here today. And, you know, it's kind of hard to ferret out those types of things. So sorry that your friend lost the property. But yeah, I feel you. I'll tell you guys a story before I get out of here. But along those lines, as far as real estate and some of the stuff that goes on. But I wonder how often people get cheated like that. As I said, not a real defined way to determine or ferret those people out. And especially if your friend doesn't have the wherewithal to stay the course, because, you know, a lot of things could go on. To that point, just as an aside, a story, and I won't say any names because I'm dealing with it now, but two veterans, right? The veteran selling the house some kind of way. And these are my words. These aren't anybody else's words, but these wholesalers convinced the seller that, hey, you need to sell your house and you need to assign title to me where I can get on title. Well, the first problem with this is this. A lot of these folks out here are saying that they're investors, but they have no dinero. They have no money. So if you guys are out there and you are afraid because of whatever reason and you think, hey, I need to get out of this home, contact a realtor. And here's why. Because they have a fiduciary responsibility. And if they have some shenanigans like Durham Skyrider, Ms. Pat is saying here, then you have some recourse, somewhere to go to file a complaint. But these folks that are popping up on the internet and then Facebook and things of this nature, in this case, because I don't know how it actually went down, but now you got somebody on title. So anyway, my guy, been dealing with him over a year. He's looking for a deal, yada, yada, yada. So he finds this advertisement on Facebook. And so sounds too good to be true, but he ferrets it out. Sure enough, the gentleman wants to sell a home, but he's an elderly person and a veteran. My guy's a veteran. Well, they start talking about the deal. We do what we do. And I'm like, the first flag to me is, hey, man, you're getting this house at a heck of a deal. So in my mind, I'm thinking there's some type of repair or something with the home, right? Because typically that's what happens. Or there's some problem on the seller side that needs to be solved. That's either financial, meaning I'm losing the house or whatever, or disrepair. Well, the more we get into the deal and we finally get a contract, it's some old crazy contract from some of these schools and stuff that these gurus are teaching online. And in essence, this person has ferreted their way in and wanted to get an assignment of $20,000. It's crazy. So the moral of the story is, just like you're saying, Ms. Pat, there's a lot of shenanigans going on out here. But if you have a home, a residential primary or an investment, 1 to 4 units, this is the first thing I would say to you. It is an asset. All this mess online talking about you got a cash flow and this, that, and the third, it's an asset, especially if you've had it for a while and you've experienced that real run up in equity. And so if you've fallen on hard times, don't be embarrassed. Reach out to a professional and consider all of your options, because in this case, this guy's going to get got and, doesn't look like there's anything that could be done. So just to lamb back on what Durham Skyrider is saying, be careful out here. That's why it's important to deal with a professional that you know, like, and trust. Well, Robert, how do I find those folks? It's simple. Time tells. Always Look at their social media. Watch them over a period of time. Like this period that we just ran through where money was coming out of the sky, right? And now you don't hear from them anymore. If they're showing you a bunch of watches and cars, things that have nothing to do with you or shelter. These are things that you could watch for to help you ferret out people. And then reviews, and then talk to folks, right? Got another comment. It says, what do you mean by assignment? I don't know. What I mean by that, Miss Pat, is the seller, right, has this person that has come in and gotten their way in between them. And they're basically saying, hey, when you sell this home for X dollar amount, then the title company where this home is being done, it's actually a title company, it's not an attorney, but the title company is going to send me $20,000 after they pay off your mortgage, right? And so it's probably not going to work. My guy is going to get a good deal, but this assignment mess, you can't assign something that you don't own. And so the person's not on title. So where they messed up at is it's VA, and VA looks out for its people, man. And so, but had this been a conventional deal, could have been the other way. My point is this. Don't be fearful, right? Talk with people that have oversight, and quit listening to friends, family, and folks on the internet, right? Because there's a lot of shenanigans going on out here. Hopefully I answered your question, Miss Pat. As always, we appreciate you, and I hope all is well. You know what? Before I go, let me ask you, have you been adversely affected by any of that hurricane activity? Because I know you're in vicinity. I just curious to know. If you don't mind, before I get out of here, you could just put a yes or no. Preferably not. And if you have been, we've been praying for some relief out that way. Coming from where I come from, out of the boot, I've experienced a couple of hurricanes, and more important, the aftermath. And it's a booger bear. It's a booger bear. All praises. You guys are okay. Well, we still praying for those folks that are trying to get back on their feet wherever you are. So there you have it. Didn't want to be here all day long. Just want to give you guys some insight on how to simplify the home loan process, because it is a process, but depending on who you deal with, your process could be very enjoyable or arduous. The choice is yours, so choose right. My time is up. I thank you for yours. Miss Pat, salute to you. And thanks for stopping by. She's got one more. Yeah, all praise. We're good here in Durham. West North Carolina was really hit, though. Yeah. Okay. Well, there you guys have it. We'll talk to you soon. Peace. Do 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 do.